But hi, folks. My name is Olivia Amaya Ortiz, and I'm an educator here at the School for Advanced Research's Indian Arts Research Center. Tonight, we're doing another segment of our SAR Artists Live, where we basically go behind the scenes and into the workspaces of some awesome and talented artists. This program is partially funded by the City of Santa Fe Arts and Culture Department and the 1% Lodgers Tax. So while people are joining, I will just talk a little bit about what this current season of SAR Artists Live is exploring, and that is basically asking the question, how do artists teach? And conversely, how do artists learn? So specifically looking at intergenerational learning and Indigenous knowledge ways. And today we have Joseph Arnoux as our guest, who is of Spokane heritage and also an enrolled member of the Blackfeet Nation. He is an artist and an educator who is based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And while he's a very talented multimedia artist, it's really his bold and graphic painting styles that we see all over town in the form of murals. So he's often referred to as an activist artist, and he specifically looks at subject matters like land back and documents various important historical moments and critical issues to Native America. So he also, I could go on and on. He's led various community projects that are youth-centered and that aim to indigenize spaces. Most recently, in partnership with the City of Albuquerque, he has established and is leading the LANDBACK Alamosa Skate Mural project. So with that being said, I will just go ahead and give the floor over to Joseph if you'd like to introduce yourself in your own words.
Oki, Nixo Coaxi, Nikaniku, Joseph Arnoux. Greetings, friends and relatives. My name is Joseph Arnoux. I'm Piikani, Blackfeet from Montana, and Spokane from Washington State. And yeah, you know, I moved to Albuquerque probably about 10 years ago to pursue art at Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and ever since then I've just been, you know, kind of trying to more and more get involved in the local community, doing various art shows, eventually murals, and you know, as well as teaching and mentoring. And I've met a lot of, you know, good people along the way who've helped me, you know, put me in the right place, and in some ways are, you know, good medicine for me too, you know, just for my personal health. So yeah, you know, I appreciate this opportunity, and I don't know where to begin specifically, you know, with, you know, other than currently I guess my current positions, I just graduated with the AFA at Institute of American Indian Arts, and I'll be walking in May. I'm still taking a class there, the public arts class actually, more focused on like public space and design rather than murals. I work with NACA Inspired Schools Network, Indigenous Educators Course, as social emotional learning, specifically to help with Native American Community Academy, the youth there. And I'm just ending my term with City Makers, the City of Albuquerque Arts and Culture Department, and you know, that was a great experience, and the final culmination is going to be this LANDBACK mural at Alamosa Skate Park. So yeah, that's just the introduction to who I am. So thank you.
That's so exciting. Well, I guess since you just mentioned the skate mural project, do you want to tell folks a little bit about what that project entails and what inspired you to do it?
Yeah, so this all started, you know, I would say within the last few years. I guess to go back to Paint for Peace, when that first started in 2020 in the city of Albuquerque downtown, a lot of things were boarded up, and I had a chance to paint a mural there based on LANDBACK. it was definitely a little bit more politically driven and a little bit more edgy, I guess you could say, for some people. And so since then, this past summer, 2021 in July, I worked with Together for Brothers, Working Classroom, and Native American Community Academy at Wilson Middle School and led a group youth mural, another LANDBACK mural there. And so that was a different design. It was a little bit more geometric and I guess I guess it wasn't so direct. My first mural had words in it. It was like, very street art, graffiti style, more off the top of my head rather than put together like the second mural. So I had put together some proposals to Working Classroom. We ended up picking one with certain color scheme, and went with that. And it's also the image or the design is similar to one of my murals I did for I'm trying to think. It was 2018
Was that
mural.
Nativo?
No, no, it
Oh,
was after. It was downtown. There's a mural I did right by Java Joe's
oh,
Blood
was that
Quantum.
Blood Quantum off of Ninth?
Yeah, and the design's kind of more like that. The Wilson Middle School design, more topography, landscape scenery based. Um, so yeah, that was the second mural. And then I was starting to work with city makers last year. It was their first time doing this program through Arts and Cultures. And so me and a few other cohort members were able to, I guess, have the creative freedom in some sense to design projects based on what we're interested in. Um, Another member was a photographer, another member was a dancer, and I do painting, so murals are usually, that was kind of like what I honed in on. And so I grew up riding BMX bikes in Holland, Michigan when I was younger, and I still ride BMX bikes to this day, and I have a lot of skater friends, and so that community spoke to me because I was thinking rather than have the youth come to me, why not go to where they're at already, where they like consider their, it's a place to escape, a place to like uh, let stress out, be active or active wellness, they might not think of it that way, but it's just something that comes out naturally, I think, an outlet. And so I chose to have a skate park as my location. And ideally, I wanted to go four directions. I want to have one at Los Altos, which is more to the east. One at Alamosa is on the west side. Um, Cibola, which is north, and Rio Bravo, which is south. But then I ran into a complication where Rio Bravo is in a different district, and so isn't necessarily a part of the city of Albuquerque.
Mm.
And yeah, I just had to based on that, my proposal kind of narrowed down to what was more realistic. And so Alamosa, it was the location. And I'd say in August, things started really forming, and I started meeting with, certain folks, public art at the site, trying to start planning, getting a budget together, getting the proposal together, really planning and trying to build a budget as much as I could, but also trying to think not only, is this going to benefit me, but also other members in the community. So I would like to have it, a group meal with youth, have other mentor artists assist me, have documentation with film and photography. And then afterwards, I want to throw a skate jam where, skaters and bikers, Indigenous or not, can come and pay some of the local, I guess, people that are involved in the community, pay them and what for their merchandise and their businesses, their skate businesses, their bike businesses, for merchandise to hand out as gifts to the youth, as a celebration. So um, that's the main goal right there. And once that's done, I think, pretty much my term with City Makers is over. And I know they're looking for the next cohort right now. The application is currently open. And so, yeah, I just been, pretty excited about this, and it's almost become like a series of murals, at this point, and who knows, maybe continue this on if there's any other locations and if there's more funding rates for the future for other skate parks.
Yeah.
That, that's still not out of my, that's still, still a possibility.
Yeah, that's a great vision to look forward to. I know that with your youth-centered, community projects like this with murals, I know that you compensate youth artists and you're seeking to like re-indigenize spaces. Can you tell us how did you, start with murals yourself, and what is your motivation with incorporating youth into your process?
Um, I guess, I mean, it goes back to when I was younger too, around adolescence and trying to express myself through art. And I used to tag, do graffiti, or at least attempt to,
Yeah.
I was, and that was in West Michigan growing up there. And I got busted a couple times, went to jail, had to pay the consequences for it, and it just sucked, I was like, why can't I put my art out there for people to see without getting in trouble for it? And so I originally never really got into paint. Was a painter, I guess you could say. Um, Tagging was just one of those things, just to mess around. But I really liked ink on paper and drawing, specifically illustrating. So I did a lot of that first when I got into art school, but then eventually I got into painting, to painting classes, and then just broadened my horizons to like a bigger scale of scaling something small and trying to work on it hard like that, or the details into something bigger. And that definitely took time and adjustment to get there, over the years. And I'm always open to do murals by myself. It's a lot of work by yourself, when it's just you. It's fun, it's your own personal work, but at the same time, because I've done some home commissions, people's houses, or um, just in the beginning, it was a lot of my own personal murals, and then as time went on, I started having opportunities, like I said, meeting new friends in the community who were plugged into, NACA and different organizations, art organizations, Indigenous organizations, working classroom. And so through them, I started, you know, I guess leveling up and growing in a way where it wasn't just me being an artist anymore. It was like me being an educator now, me being a curator, me taking on different roles and putting on different hats. And it was very uncomfortable. Like even doing something like this, public speaking would be uncomfortable. I'm an introverted person, and so um, it took some time, to get out of my shell, and to take on these roles and have the courage to say yes to them. And so even though I get intimidated, today I went to NACA and being around the youth, still kind of there's this, I don't know, something about it. But once we're actually in doing the work and getting into it, and people can open up and kind of let their guard down, then that's when it's just easier, to work and communicate and get the job done and work as a team. So um, yeah, that's kind of my development, through to getting to working in murals and then working with you in murals.
Mhm. And I know that you've been working with Erica Lord recently. Can you tell us a little bit about, I don't know, what you have going on these days, or what you've been especially interested in?
Yeah, so um, while I'm attending Institute of American Indian I was taking a drawing class last spring. Yeah, last spring 2021, and it was actually with Jeff Com, who passed recently, and it was crazy because it was the first day. Um, you know, we were meeting in person, and that's when, you know, Jeff had passed on his way there. So I had met Erica because she became our instructor after that. And since then, we've been working on an internship together, and a few other interns. And it was at the end of our drawing class that she introduced that. And she had said she had these different opportunities, you know, and I didn't really know exactly what it was about at first, but I was just interested in, you know, working with her, working under her, and trying to learn, because I had a good time in that drawing two class, you know, the remainder of it. And so we started working last summer, and after the internship, we're continuing to work into this year, 2022, and we've been focusing on these beaded looms, and it's based off of her heritage, her background, her culture from Alaska, and you know, she also grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, but it's mostly from her Alaskan tribes that this comes from, and they're supposed to be these kind of mats that go on the back of the dog sleds, uh, kind of to cover them. But instead, what we're doing is she's taking different diseases that are inflicting the indigenous culture, including COVID and um, there's some other ones, DNA. But they're like in this program where they're like broken down into this like almost digital format, and it looks very it's hard to describe, but there's no like real image. It's just a lot of colors, you know. But we're doing like 7 foot long looms. I just had finished one of those, and then we'll continue to work on more. And it's definitely a team effort, you know. Everybody involved is doing a part because it starts with like separating all the beads, putting them onto, you know, wires, getting them ready, putting them onto the loom. Um, and it's a lot of intense work that I haven't really done before, you know. I'm used to doing the two-dimensional painting, things like that, drawing, and so having the like time and like I guess patience to like sit there and work on that, you know. It's been humbling in a way. So I definitely appreciate working with her and all that she's done for me. Um, and you know, her work it was it is going to DC in a group show, I believe, in 2023. And there's more information on it. I don't have all the information right now, but we're just in the process of, you know, getting more of these belts done as quick as possible, I guess, but also with care, you know.
Yeah, it seems like you are involved in a lot of like community creative practices, whether you're leading them or the person in the role of being like a contributor as a mentee. I guess before we run out of time, I know one interesting detail about your artistic background is how the Dakota Access pipeline kind of, you know, deeply impacted you maybe on a personal level, but also your creative practice. Can you just speak more to that experience and, you know, the impacts for you as an artist?
Yeah, definitely. So back in 2016, when all that was going down and starting, um, prior to that, I was in not necessarily the best place in my life. I was definitely on a downslope, and I was just, you know, trying to get my art career going. And I've always had this like, you know, indigenous like passion for justice and sovereignty and, you know, our rights and everything like that. Ever since like, yeah, even before that. What was it called? I don't know more, you know, things like that prior to No Apple. And that was like the pinnacle. And I remember 2016 in the fall, as it was getting like to the height of it, uh, I just had the urge more and more to go myself, you know, and be a part of it. And I had the opportunity to take jump on like a caravan with, you know, they're shuttling groups from Albuquerque to the to Standing Rock at that time, And so I went, and I remember arriving on Thanksgiving Day actually, and getting there, and I spent maybe about uh, 2 to 3 weeks there. And it was as things were turning from it being I guess somewhat habitable to like really cold wintry weather there, where it was really harsh and almost dangerous to a certain point. And that I definitely, that whole experience did something to me. Um, Probably just like a lot of people that were there, that impacted him like that. To this day, I know a lot of friends still in Albuquerque who went, and I think ever since then it kind of sparked something, because once I came back, uh, that's when I started doing the Nativo mural the following 2017 in the spring. Trying to work towards like working with OT circuits and doing more shows, curating shows with them. Even we were able to, me and Lynette Houses were able to put a mural outside on the brick wall there. And, just trying to be more involved in the community in an activist way. Um, I mean, through my art, but also eventually through teaching, it led to teaching youth and getting youth involved and interested in these type of things. And I think there's definitely more like fiery passion back then, because it was the height of it. And then it was triggered even in 2020 when Black Lives Matter happened, and that's when Paint for Peace happened, and I came up with that piece that was, it was just really from the heart, some things that I thought. Um, I mean, even lingering from Standing Rock, because it's not like it ever ended. I feel like we're still continuing the battle in some ways, still fighting for justice in certain forms. And so LANDBACK is just, another way of just a continuation of that, and then even after this, I know something else is going to come up, and we'll have to try to get behind that as well, whatever the next motto is, or what people will be saying, I guess, as a hashtag. But yeah, Standing Rock 2016, and no doubt will, a lot of that. It was, I know, I can't say I was on the front lines, but I was definitely there at the AIM Albuquerque camp, holding things down at the fire, and just trying to be present and do my part. I know a lot of other friends, were there on the front lines, and taking the harder hits of it, I guess you could say. But I think we all have some kind of role in this process, of whether we're musicians or artists or actual people who are out there always, in the streets, Um, so yeah, that's
Yeah.
something.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a comment from Amy that says, I love how open you've been to all the opportunities and twists and turns in your life.
Yeah, I am. Well, I think at one point I said no a lot and was a lot more intimidated. So now I'm just trying to be more open, like that.
Yeah. Well, before we have to head out, is there anything in your studio space that you'd like to share or, you know, talk about a little bit more?
Well, I guess as you can see, kind of like these pieces right here are some bigger pieces that I've been working on, and I'm actually going to have a show with my partner Tiffany Irizarry, who just graduated from IAIA with BFA, and it'll be during April for Art Walk here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as well as a closing reception for your gatherings weekend on the 29th. So I guess just, for anybody who's interested in my work, to keep a lookout for a flyer, because there'll be an event page coming soon. So.
Okay, awesome. And of course, you have your mural coming up, which I'm sure we can all keep an eye out for the finished product when
Yeah.
when that arrives. Great. Well, is there anywhere that we can follow you or any, you know, your any website handles or anything like that you want to disclose?
Yeah, so my website is www.theresult.com. It's TheRezult.com. And then, yeah, you can just follow me on Facebook, Joseph Arnoux, or Instagram, Spelia5, or at the number 5, Peelya. And that's where I usually, post my information about anything going on or, murals, events, and things like that. Thank you.
Great. And I personally want to thank you for your service as an educator. I know NACA, for example, is a great network of folks there. So thank you everyone for logging in, and thank you, Joseph. We will post this video on our Instagram feed and our YouTube in the near future. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you,
Thank you.
folks. Thank you so much.